We are live. Welcome to episode 82 of What's in Your Cup. Happy hump day, everybody. Grab your cup of coffee, a cup of water, your energy drink. For some of you, drinking that yak early in the morning. I guess it's 5 o'clock somewhere. I was inspired by my Las Vegas club, my Las Vegas mug. Trip I went to Vegas for us to talk about the gamble of ball pythons, right? High voltage gambling over here, the gamble of ball pythons. But before we continue, don't be a creep. Smash that subscribe button and hit the like. Let's get it going. Let's get them algorithms moving. Let's get this video. I want to challenge you guys today. I want to challenge you to get this video to as many new breeders and keepers as possible. I want to have as many people that are thinking about becoming breeders watch this video as possible. And if you're one of those people, this video is for you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I love to see all you people here so bright and early. Jar Pythons wins the first to sign on for the day. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, Kingdom Pythons. Nice to see you. My man Balls and Strikes is in the house. Good Wednesday morning. One of my adversaries, I would like to say, that keeps me on my toes. We rarely agree, but when we do, it gets a little scary. Energy drink of the day is Tropsicle by Alani NU Energy. You get it, brother. We got Texas in the house with Texas Kid Reptiles. I got my man Geeka up in here. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, everyone. Macomorph is up bright and early. I see you, Marlon, over at J&B Reptiles. And my homie, my thorn in the side, Pope County, Randy, all the way from Arkansas. Okay. Randy says, morning all. I want to be a snake breeder. I think that's pretty interesting. And I think that's a pretty fair comment because when you think about it, right, that bug bites you so fast and so hard. Okay. Thank you for the love, 21st Century, sending love from over the pond. I think it's a lot later, right? Like 12 hours later. Randy sent, Randy puts out that comment and he does it in jest. But let's look at that. Let's break that down. How often do we see it where that bug that bites you, it bites you hard, it bites you fast, right? It bites you real fast. Kingdom Python says they got it bad. So you know what? Maybe this video is for you. Maybe it's for you. And I want to scare you away. I want you to run. I want to see your sticker, if you even have a sticker, in my ball python sticker graveyard. I want to see you ghost, poof. I want to see you become the hypo gene and ghost be gone. What it do, what it do, what it do, what it do. So, guys, I do 3 shows a week, as you know. On Fridays, I do the Keeper's Corner at 8 p.m. Eastern Time with my co-host Jason of Canadian Reptile Adventures. On Thursdays, we do Balling with Brian, where we showcase a breeder or a keeper's collection and go through their collection and get a glimpse of what they have and what they're working on, what's coming down the pike. And on Wednesday morning, that's today, hump day, I remind you to look at your goals and see where you are, assess them, and do what you have to do to crush them. Or, like today, just quit. Give it up. Stop chasing the dream. But we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the reptile community. So last Friday, All the three shows are different, as you can see. They all have their own themes. And last Friday, where the shows are different, they're the same in the fact that they're non-scripted. There may be a topic that I want to discuss, or Jason and I on the Friday show will say we're going to touch on this. But that's it. That's pretty much the full extent of planning for the shows. One of the things I like about the shows is, number one, they're very interactive with you guys in the chat now. Okay, they're very interactive. You guys kind of dictate. Good morning, Jose. Grab your balls, homie. You guys dictate where the show is going to go. And last Friday, I never would have anticipated where the show was going to go, but wow, it took a twist, and it kind of inspired today's conversation, where the show got into marketing and it got into all the different aspects of ball python breeding. And there was some really, really good dialogue, and you had some good shares from people, from their personal experiences to their best practices. So kudos to all of you again that make these shows worthwhile. Yes, I said it. Episode 82, guys. We've done this for 82 weeks in a row. Two of these shows have been running consecutively for 82 weeks in a row, and Bowling with Brian has been running for 80 weeks. So it's pretty commendable when you think about it, that we have over 260 shows running consecutively. And the only reason why I do it, the only reason why Jason and I do it, is because you make it worth it. So let's talk about that. Let's see here. Uh, we got the Brit telling us that I went from 1 to 65 snakes in 6 months. Okay. And he's going strong now for 5 years. What's up, John? Now, I think that that's a pretty common experience. I'm not sure about 65 snakes in 6 months, because a lot of people, they do grow fast, but wow, that is a huge jump. You're averaging over 10 snakes a month. That's at almost 11. That's a huge, huge jump. King the Python says, that's what I love about this show. Well, I try to keep it real, I try to keep it funky. And that's why today's show is about letting people know the realities. Run, get away, right? We've been talking about, so this show we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly about of the reptile community, right? Well, let's think about that for a second. How diverse, how large is this reptile community? It is amazing. It is amazing. Think about it. It's Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. We have people on here from all over the country. We have people on here internationally, um, of all different ethnicities, religions, political affiliations. Some of you fools don't like the Yankees. Um, Single, married, uh, just the entire gamut, right? If you look at the ball python community, it truly is one of the most diverse communities I've seen. H&M, my morning misfit master, how the hell are you? So think about that. Think about that. Think about the diversity of this ball python community, right? Um, just look at this fact. In the ball python community, you got the avid keepers. Well, you have pet owners, right? You got people that's it. They own one ball python. It's a pet. It's in their fish tank. They love it. They boop it snoot. Um, it watches TV with them. It does all those great things a pet does. They try to teach it to roll over and to fetch, right? So we have pet owners, and there's nothing wrong with pet owners, especially if you become a ball python breeder, because pet owners become an aspect of your sales when you consider you're probably going to wholesale at some point. And when you wholesale, you're wholesaling to pet shops that are going to sell to pet owners, which is usually doesn't fall into your direct sales unless you're doing the shows. Then you have keepers, right? And keepers usually have a nice a nice handful or so, maybe two hands, throw in a foot, collection of ball pythons. Maybe they're on the fence. Maybe it's that phase where they're on the fence of whether or not they're going to breed, but they really, really love the ball python. They love the different morphs. They start getting different animals, different parts of the collection going on in there. Then you have the breeder, right? Um, they bought a wild type, or they got a wild type fell in their hands. They found out it's a girl. They go and they get a pastel, and now they're gonna breed and they're gonna make $1 million because no one else is doing it except for the other 3,000 pastel combos on Morph Market. And then you have the super breeder, right? We're going to call them a super breeder, where they've already established credibility and the ability to do this as a job. So even within that, you have separate categories where you have the hobbyist and you have the business person. Okay, so just think about all the different dynamics of what falls into the ball python community. You have those that are just ball pythons, those that have other reptiles, other types of snakes. um, you have show people, right? You have people that vend at shows, people that only vend online, people that have nothing to do with social media. We just have such a vast, diverse community. Boutique breeding, yes, we have the boutique breeders that keep it to one rack. I actually kind of like boutique breeders. You're throwing me off on a tangent here. I actually like the boutique breeders because the boutique breeders seem to be some of the most goal oriented breeders I've met. And there's a constant elevation in their collection. Like one of the things with boutique breeders, they're not going to grow out of their rack system. So what that means is as they hold back animals, they're getting rid of animals, elevating their collection as far as the genes and the combos that they're working with. So I finally kind of think that's pretty cool. Polk County says you need the diversity in this industry, especially in the YouTube lives. They draw in new people that may not be drawn to other people that do them, and we're gonna touch back on that. But yes, we definitely need the diversity. I love the diversity in the ball python community. Think about it. I got to meet Randy from Arkansas. How often would I be speaking to people or socializing with people from Arkansas, or more so, how many how many people from Arkansas will be socializing with a Puerto Rican from the South Bronx? Just like, hey, how you doing? I don't think it's that common an occurrence. Hell, besides weed, I think that ball pythons brings together the most diverse community in the world. So, some major advantages to being a boutique breeder. I agree with you, Troy. Again, there is a you're forced to be goal oriented, and you're forced to continually evaluate your inventory, your projects, the direction you're going in, and stick to it because you're not going to bring in a new rack. So Hugh says, I finally got my Burmese to chill the hell out and not eat me alive. I say Reddick, my retic hunt is on now. Here we go. So look at this. See how it keeps going. Happy, happy, happy hump day, my homie. DTMG talking about diversity. We got the big Korean in the house. All right. So when we're talking about diversity, we're talking about the ball python. Let me see. You have to be focused. It's hard for me to focus. It is very, very hard for me to focus. But I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try because I already told you I am getting rid of some of you people. Some of you people are gonna pack up, close shop, and you're going to sell your classic pastel clutches and get the hell out of the ball python business. As a teacher, I fall into boutique-ish. Okay. Pope says, every time I hear boutique, I think of the small women's clothing store. Well, that's a good assessment right there. Okay, so I'm trying to do the YouTube, look at the comments to see if there's a huge delay, but they seem to be kind of caught up, which is pretty cool. All right, it's pretty cool. I kind of like that. So you see the diversity in this ball python community. Now, let's see. I got my first ball python easily going on 30 years. It's been easily, gosh, we've talked about it plenty of times. It feels like I've been doing this YouTube, Instagram thing forever. Whew, it's definitely the 90s. I want to say 94-ish, around 94. We're in 2022. So I guess 20, yeah, we're in the 28-year realm, right? 2022. All right. So I guess 2022. All right. So 94 would be my first ball python. I had boas, I had other reptiles, but my first ball python was actually given to me by who I consider my brother today, who just didn't want to deal with it anymore. I was more into the big boas and everything. I had eventually an albino Burmese python. I had the red tail, which when you eventually learn years later, it wasn't a red tail. It was just a common boa, but exactly. All right, so let's just think about that. This has been going on for decades, right? For decades now. And what we have today is not even what it was 2 years ago. Okay. Um, Yet you're always hearing that the ball python community or the ball python business or industry is oversaturated. There's no money in it. Okay. Um, well, we're always talking about the ball python market. So think about this. Maybe 2 years back, you have 10, 11, 12,000 animals on Morph Market. Ball pythons, let's not say animals, they have other species there. Ball pythons on Morph Market. Today, there are over 30,000 ball pythons on Morph Market. 30,000. So all of you aspiring breeders, keepers, get the hell out. There's no room for you. What projects are you going to contribute that are going to revolutionize this ball python world? Please do tell. Do tell. Huh? You're going to bring that clown. You got clown in your collection, right? You got clown in your collection. There are over 2,500 clown combos on Morph Market right now. Some of them have been there a year listed. You look at the relisting and look to when it first got listed. You're going to find clowns at 250 grams that have been posted for over a year that look like they're starving. Okay? Get out. Run. Run away. Save your money. Save your time. H&M Exotic says all markets slow, all markets climb. Just got to roll with the waves. All markets have highs and lows, right? But some markets have more volatility than others. The reality is, okay, we're going to talk about the reality. As much as we bash the markets in the ball python world, it seems as if they're growing. Okay. Shout out to those that accomplished a few firsts this week. I saw Antoine from High Desert Pythons do his first show. He did the Reptile Super Show out in Anaheim, California. So kudos to him. He also shouted out some of those that have provided mentorship and assistance through his journey. For those of you that may not know, he has a Patreon. He has a great social media following. He's very, very active in the ball python community. Mac O'More says, "Why do you want to kick us out, Brian?" I don't want to kick you out necessarily, Mac. I don't want to kick you out. I want to kick out anyone that isn't honest with themselves. Why? Okay, well, first of all, for those that want to be breeders, those are breeders. The reality of what you're doing is you are creating competition, your own competition. More often than not, your customer will evolve into your competition. Now, we can say, oh, I'm my only competition. I'm one of those very self motivated. I'm not going up against you. I'm going up against myself. I'm challenging myself. My goals are based on my performances, not someone else's. So I dig that. There's definitely reality to that, right? But I want you to look at it this, right? I'll give you a perfect example. My buddy Rich, right? Richie, congrats. He has his baby boy on the way. He's a girl dad right now. He has a baby boy in the way. Congratulations to him on that. Rich entered one of my STWs and won a multi gene banana. Okay. Kind of ignited the whole buzz. He just came from a reptile show out in PA. I believe it was Hamburg. I think it was Hamburg because I'm not such a fan of Hamburg. And I remember when he told me it was Hamburg, I was like, I really don't like that show. He just bought a banana ball python. I think it was a single gene at Hamburg. Then he entered one of my STWs and he won a multi gene banana. Right now, the bug starts kicking in. So I remember it was him and it was another friend, Eric. So now we're communicating a lot, telling them things, and I'll never forget Rich telling me, "Well, it's not like I'm gonna retire off of this stuff." Fast forward till today. Congratulations to Rich. He also has his first clutch on the ground. It's from a Blade Het Clown girl that I sold him. Okay, so did you hear that? Did you hear? He won an STW. He bought a female Blade Het Clown that just drops his first clutch to a very nice clown combo. Okay, but listen to this progression, right? The person that told me, when I was encouraging him, etc., that he wasn't going to get into this that way, it's not something he's going to retire off of, etc., just landed his first clutch, and his collection today is phenomenal. Okay, from clown combos all over the place to urban camo. Go check him out. Matter of fact, he did bowling with Brian with me one day when my guest pulled out last second. He jumped right in. So kudos to you, Rich. I'm very, very proud on you on many levels. But look at the progression. Okay. The reality is he went from being a customer to technically competition. Okay. If we look at our Instagrams, we have at least 50, 60, 70 mutual followers, right? So you see how the worlds overlap, right? You see that? He gets rats from my boy that I met through my boy Sal. I'll say so. You see now they have their direct connect. So you see how your customer will progressively evolve into your competition. We can paint the pretty picture. We can say, oh, it ain't so. It is so. It is very, very so. So get out. Get out now. Kara Shea says exactly why I'm a keeper and not a breeder. That's cool. That's cool. I think that's really cool. Um, John from 121 is making fun of Mac's fat fingers, but Mac, I got it. I don't need you guys to make all the corrections. I think it. All right. Danny says, I have a brand new ARS rack set up for breeders getting out just in case. Yes, he does. And he wants to snag all of your clown and pied, especially adult feeders. Okay. That's definitely a fact. I know I try to pick up somebody's pies and he already called dibs. Okay. Hugh says, I don't want to change it. I just enjoy playing with the direct imports. When the fun goes away, it becomes just not another job. Do what you enjoy. I love that perspective. That brings us to what I call the passion, the Python passion. Okay, where if you don't have a passion for this, and I think that that's another thing that connects us. I want to think that more of us have this passion python than this delusion of becoming filthy rich off of breeding ball pythons. And that's where the lines get a little skewed between hobby and business, right? That's where they get skewed between hobby and business. Okay. Jar Python says, I'm pumping out DGs as we speak. That's great, right? Because Desert Ghost has been the big thing, the big talk of the town, etc. Morph Market right now, as we speak, has 2,600 Desert Ghost combos available. 2,600. So the reason why I share these numbers, and I always tell you guys, I'm very into data. The reason why I share these numbers, and the reason why I tell you to get out, well, what are you going to do differently? What are you going to do with your desert? And this is not to you, Jar Pythons. This is to everyone. What are you going to do differently with your desert ghost that you just hatched that the other 2,600 available animals and whoever developed those did not do? That their animals are still available for sale. And I ask you this question because you have to ask yourself that question. What are you going to do differently? We talked about the markets and we talked about how there's highs and lows. Well, the reality is this is one of the most volatile markets anywhere. You think cryptocurrency, you think Bitcoin, that's volatile? Nothing is more volatile than the ball python industry. What dictates a market, right? Supply versus demand. And when you're pumping out an animal that I have 2,600 other options to select from, I promise you, in that 2,600, there'll be at least 200 people willing to negotiate, right? It's a small number if you think about it. There'll be at least 200 options that will be less money than what you're providing. I just want you guys to think about this. I want all of you ball python aspiring breeders to run away. Run. If you think that you're going to become a millionaire and you're going to make all this huge money jumping into the ball python world. Good morning, my homie Ancestral in the house. I can't wait. I'm still looking forward. We got to connect. I am doing your first live. Okay, Jar Pythons is in business with Manny. Ha ha, we joking around. Boo. Let's see here. Good morning, Forward Motion. So Balls and Python says, Balls and Strikes Python says, so everyone I know is producing DG stuff. The market is about to be saturated with DG. Prices on DG is about to drop to clown and pied levels fairly soon. Well, let's just think about that. Clown combos have around, I would say 2,500 available animals on Morph Market. Now, mind you, everyone does not sell on Morph Market, guys, right? Right? You have people that only sell at shows. You have people that only have somehow they're direct. People that have the pet shops. Everybody doesn't sell on Morph Market, but on Morph Market, we're going to use Morph Market as our barometer here. On Morph Market, there are currently 2,500, give or take a few, guys. I'm not giving you exact numbers. I'm giving you rough estimates here, but at least 2,500 clown combos. Desert Ghost, I overspoke. I'm sorry. Desert Ghost is at around 1,400. I mentioned, I think, like 20 something hundred. Desert Ghost is around 1,400. So there's still Clown, but Clown has been around a lot longer, correct? But there's 1,400, not 20 something hundred. Sorry, correction. 1,400 Desert Ghost combos that are out there. So is this true? That what Balls and Strikes is saying? Randy says, why are Brian's motivational talks always negative? Well, I guess we can call them negational talks. How about that one? Well, I'm not being negative. I'm being realistic. And I think that's the problem. I think the problem is some people don't want to accept reality, and I am real. I am going to be real. And if I talk you out of breeding today, I've done my job as a responsible member of the ball python community. And I saved you headache, and I saved the ball python community a headache. For me, that's a win-win-win, straight across the board. Now, if me painting a picture of reality doesn't talk you out of your goals, your dreams, your vision, and makes you work harder and makes you do a self-assessment of where you are, where you want to be, and plug in the holes on that map, on that journey to get to where you want to be, and makes you see the reality, and makes you increase your effort, and makes you increase your research, makes you improve your daily practices, makes you look at the business aspect of it, not just the combos and the goals of putting combos together. I hate to say it, brother, but I just motivated you to be a better breeder. This is reality. That's all. So it's not negative, it's real. And if you're on the fence of whether or not you can handle this, this is what you have to consider. I remember having conversations and hearing all this stuff about a Miguel years back, right? Miguel this, and so many people bashing Miguel. Obviously, that's all I heard was negative stuff about Miguel. He didn't pay his dues. He bought his way in. Same things people say about my beloved Yankees, right? I had a negative impression about Miguel, and shame on me, because I didn't research and I was just getting all this input and from different people. So I started looking at Miguel and I see, okay, so this man has had success in different areas. And what he did was he chose to be successful in the ball python world. I met Miguel in Arlington and he interviewed my son. He interviewed the CEO. 9 years old. He interviewed Samson. He goes, "Oh, aren't you that 9-year-old breeder?" And does a little quick little interview on him. So I saw him from a much humble. He benefits nothing from interviewing a 9-year-old kid. Okay, nothing at all. All right. If anything, he made that kid's day, and he sure as hell made my day. Because you had to see my son was so calm, cool, and collected, and I was a giggly little proud dad in the corner, you know. Um, so I saw him from another perspective. So yeah, he did it his way. Okay. Now, where I see the flip side to what he did is he's created almost a false perspective to many new breeders. If you don't have everything that he brought to the table when he did it his way, it's not going to work for you. And what did he bring? He brought money. Okay. He didn't do this with dribs and drabs and I'm going to go head to head and in 3 years. No, he jumped right in, had the money to invest into the animals that were going to launch very, very high yielding returns on their clutches. He invested into the equipment. He knew how to market and he didn't fall into a box. Okay. Today, the man has 100,000 YouTube subscribers in English and in on his Spanish channel. He has expanded. Okay, so we're jumping into what's considered a saturated market, and everyone is fishing in the same pond. He expanded into another country and developed relationships and started developing an expansion to the market in another country. Genius. Have your opinion about how he did it. Have your opinion about him. The fact is, from the business aspect of this, the entrepreneurial mindset is unmatched. Okay. 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, this has been going on, and he brought new things to the table. So if you're sitting there and you think you're going to fish in my pond, okay, and take away my fish, you'll be in my sticker graveyard in less than 3 years. I hope DG stuff, Forward Motion Reptile says, I hope DG stuff does drop. I'd like a few females, but I'm set up to be okay with them. DG will drop. How dramatically it drops, I don't know. Double and triple recessives is where this hobby is definitely headed. I must agree. It will be pretty much bare minimum that you have a double visual recessive that's stacked with heads. That's just the reality. That's just the reality. Okay. I think people need to look at what they're really plan on being in the next 5 to 10 years when they make moves to be successful. So I agree. 5 year plan, right? Get your 5 year plan in place. You get your 5 year plan in place, but you have to have a backup plan. So I always say, don't have a plan, have 3 plans, right? Because the reality is, in 5 years, that animal that you invested heavily in, something could be discovered about the animal. Remember Desert, not Desert Ghost, Desert, right? People wanted to get into Desert. People were investing heavily into Desert. Then you found out, uh-oh, females can't make desert babies. They die, right? So we're still learning so much. I think I've shared it before. The reality is, all of these morphs, they're mutations. They are genetic flaws, okay, in these animals. That's fact, guys. That's science. Every one of these morphs and mutations is a genetic flaw. We don't know how that affects other things about the animal, or we know some, but we're still learning, especially with the newer combos, etc. Okay, so the volatility is dramatic. People have invested in $100,000 new animals, quote unquote, candy, right? Only to find out that it's a lilac with albino, and then your $100,000 investment just plummets, right? When the people that sold you the candy knew the entire time it was illegal. They already knew it before they sold it to you, but they hustled you, right? And you invested $100,000 in an allelic animal with an albino. Albino has, I think, 20. No, albino. I think there's at least 15, 1,600 albinos on Morph Market right now, still holding strong, right? But it's albino money. Uh, Desert Ghost, Ultramel, Clown Pie. That's what I'm trying to do different. Ancestral Royal Pythons. And that's the route where everyone's going. The route everyone's going. If you think about it right now, if you look at it at this moment while we're speaking, if you want to go and get your hands on, and I know this from someone that's purchased it, a Desert Ghost Clown Hypo, you're looking at a $25,000 animal. In 3 years, let's see where that's at. Because it was a race. It was a race. We always talk about it's a marathon, not a sprint. But what happens is, and you start seeing people racing to get to certain combos, right? Now you start seeing where people used to start breeding at 1,500, 1,600 grams, or ideally go for 2,000 grams on the female. They're pushing that girl to breed at 1,000. They're overfeeding the animal. They're power feeding. They're trying to get the male, or they're throwing the male in at 300 grams, right? Because it becomes a race to see who's going to get there first. Because the reality is, everything's been done under the sun. If you're thinking it, someone else is thinking it. So now we start racing to see who's going to do it first, because that's where you capitalize on making that big money initially. Technically, there are 1,423 DG snakes available on MM, and only 467 are visual. So there's always that. Yes. But the reality is, most of the newer breeders, keepers, are going the het route because they can't afford to go the visual route. And then if you're going the het route, it's a long game. You're going, your 3 year game turns into 4 or 5 years. We're bringing the heads back. 5 years, 6 years down the road, we're on to the next thing, right? More often than not. I please correct me if I'm wrong, but which animal, which combos, which genetic, which genes have maintained their value over 5 years, right? And remember, hypo had its ups and downs, right? Hypo's at 2600 hypo combos on Morph Market right now, ups and downs, but it's at 2600. Get yourself a nice um, hypo with double het combo going on in there, couple $100. Clowns, clowns and pides to me are like the Hondas. They always retain their value, but their value has dropped dramatically unless we're looking at triple recessive visuals. H&M Exotics, hashtag Hughes says, Brian is just trying to thin the herd, making us little breeders second guess ourselves. Didn't do it for the money. I just love the roll of the genetic dice and not crapping out. Well, there we go. Back to the gamble. What is it that you're gambling, right? I love gambling. I love going to the casino. If I'm playing poker, and I want you guys to hear this, all right? Because if you play poker, let's do it. I'm very, very confident in what I'm gonna do in poker. Very, very confident because I have the control. Now, when I'm playing other games in the casino, craps, you mentioned craps. I love craps. I don't have the control. Decent odds, right? Because you can pick what you do and have decent odds and play the odds. But when I go to a casino, I go to the casino not with the false assumption that I'm going to make it and become a rich man that night. I go to the casino with an amount of money I am willing to lose and have a good time. Crazy, right? Who has a good time losing money? But I know I'm not going to lose more than I determine is my budget for the night. Have dinner, my wife will have drinks, maybe we catch a show, maybe we stay there, maybe they give us the hotel room for free, but I have a budget and I am very, very accepting of the fact that the odds are they're going to take my money more so than me leave with money because that's how it's set up. Reality. That's all. Reality. And those that don't accept that reality are either struggling with gambling, need Gamblers Anonymous, or should never walk into a casino. Don't take your debit card with you. Don't use your mortgage money, your rent money, your bills. No, don't do it. Don't hope that next. No, whatever you lost, walk away and be happy you didn't lose more. Okay, Ball Python World. It's a gamble. That $3,000 animal that you're putting a payment plan on today may be worth half of that in a year. It's a gamble. Brian is trying to run off the competition. I am my own competition. I am my own competition. There's nothing you're going to do to make me do something better. Okay? Nothing. Nothing at all. Can you have projects that are inspirational? Can you add best practices? Yes, of course, of course, of course. You will not determine whether I will be successful or not. You won't. So if anything I'm saying has you second guessing yourself, you got some serious thinking to do. Okay? Get this video into every new breeder or keeper's hands. Okay. This is reality. A lot of people don't like to talk about reality. This is reality. I love it when somebody had referred to this as a pyramid scheme. Who are you selling to? You're selling to people that you're most likely going to sell multiple animals throughout their ball python collecting, keeping, breeding career. You're selling to other breeders. You're buying snakes at pennies on the dollar on failed projects or failed breeders that are packing up shop. This is reality. Can you be successful? Yes! If you think anything I said right now will keep you from being successful, quit now. That was my point. My point was that If you're not willing to do what it takes to be successful, if you're not willing to, if I were to open up a restaurant right now, I'd have a 3-year goal. My goal would be 3 years before I ever made a dollar. 3 years. It will take me 3 years. That is the average. In 3 years, you find out whether or not your restaurant is going to be successful. But people that get into the restaurant world, they know this. So they go in there with that grit. They go in there willing to work 12-hour, 14-hour days, 6, 7 days a week, knowing it's going to take them 3 years to become profitable. But then they will remain profitable if they stick to their formulas. Okay, changing the menu, doing things to bring in their clientele. I would go crazy if my phone went off as much as Brian's. Yeah, it's something that I deal with daily, and that's why I tell you guys, don't get mad if I don't communicate with you right away. I always try to get back, um, but it's something that I've gotten kind of used to. Things that are worthy are risky. I agree with you 100%, Kingdom Pythons. You just have to determine what is its value and worth to you. Wayne Clark says, do what you love what you do. Warfuls Morphs, good morning, Brian. And chat people listening while running my skid loader. There you go. Joseph, been enjoying your shows for the past year. I always enjoy your hard questions. It gets me even more motivated to keep pushing harder. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. 100. There's nothing negative about what we're talking about, guys. Nothing negative. We're talking about reality. If this drives you out, you didn't belong here. If this makes you say, time to pack it up, or I'm not going to do this, and I'm not going to purchase that animal, and you did not belong here. Your passion was weak. Something you caught a certain gust of wind that had you feeling kind of tingly and good for a second. You thought that this ball python stuff was gonna change your life or whatever other issues you have going on. No, this is tough. It is tough to run a business. You want to do this for a hobby, accept how much money you're willing to lose. One snake? Okay, one snake. Well, how much is that snake going to cost you to feed over a year? Accept it. Accept what a hobby means and how much you're willing to lose in a hobby because you're not making money in a hobby. And if it's a business, accept the blood, the sweat, and tears you have to invest in it. And it's still a gamble. What the hell is in your cup? Fairy Lala juice? It's just gonna happen because you think it's gonna happen. You just caught the newest idea on the planet. This has been happening for decades. And I'm gonna tell you right now, guys, the ball python community ain't going anywhere. People talk about it. Oh, this market, that it ain't going anywhere. People are gonna succeed. People are gonna fail. You just have to figure out which one of those people are you. Okay. I say it all the time. There's two types of people: those that make excuses and those that make it happen. Right? We talked about Miguel and advance. Let's talk about people that aren't Miguel, people that are just starting. I called him the rookie of the century, DTMG Pythons. You think that he stays limited to this? My man was selling overseas. He didn't get stuck here. He had a great inventory and he maximized his potential to unload those animals. Okay? Two types of people: those that make excuses, those that make it happen. If I am your excuse to fail, use it. I don't give a shit. I got big shoulders. You were gonna fail. You just made this conversation the excuse. So get this video in as many breeders and keepers' hands, guys, because you want to know something? We should get rid of them. I'm tired of seeing all of these one gene animals and nobody knows how to get rid of them, because you want to know why? They become an issue. We talk about the issues with pet stores and what pet stores do. Well, where do these animals end up? They either end up in the flipper's hand who's going to wholesale them, because flippers have a gamut. They have a wide inventory. They're selling to pet shops. They're selling to breeders. So what do you think they're selling to pet shops? They're selling to pet shops all those weak combos that people are putting together. That's what's going to the pet shop. That's your fancy. Okay, your fancies that animal that got sold to a pet shop wholesale that doesn't get treated right, that doesn't have proper humidity, that's dehydrated, that hasn't eaten in 5 or 6 months, which puts a ugly mark on the community. Pipeline Python says, I did this before this social media, and if it stopped tomorrow, I'm still going to be doing this. Would you if no one was watching? Now, I'm not sure about the question. Are we talking about the social media or the ball python thing? I'm not sure because when it comes to social media, I've been on social media since MySpace, when MySpace was mostly for music while I owned a recording studio. I owned a recording studio for over 10 years, which was very profitable. Then it got saturated, and then there were other factors involved that I wasn't willing to face anymore. So I shut down the recording studio. And the recording studio was only one of many businesses that I've owned. So if you're talking about social media, I think I will always have something to do with social media. If you're talking about ball pythons and reptiles, I was born into it. I was born, and there was a boa constrictor in my house, which caused a lot of turmoil on that being in my house. My boa is 15 years old, so I'm not really sure, but that's a good question. Balls and Strikes says, I breed snakes to make all the amazing combos I can't afford to buy. If you don't get excited for every clutch you hatch, you need to do something else. Love of the snakes and not money is key. Thank you. Thank you. I find us agreeing more, and I don't know if that makes for good social media content, but it's good for my I forgot that word, but my balance to see that. Okay. All right. So hashtag Hugh says it doesn't matter how people get in. Miguel's a business minded man, and he has shown it from day one. Met him in 2019 at Repticon Atlanta. Stand up guy, in my opinion. All right. So we're talking about Miguel. He is definitely killing it, doing it right. He's doing it his way. That's for sure. That's for sure. He's definitely doing it his way. Gosh, all these comments went crazy here. I like this right here. Strategy is everything. We always say it. Today's the best day. Today is the best day for you to look at your goals, assess your goals, figure out what you're doing. If you're right, if you're on track, if you're behind, pick it up. If you're crushing it, don't slow down. Don't slow down. Okay. Warfels, get them likes up, people. Don't be a creep. Yeah, stop creeping. Stop creeping. Because you want to talk about social media. Well, it's all about algorithms, and what triggers those algorithms? Hitting that little button, guys. Gosh, is that so much to ask for? Is it to hit that little button? There we go. Slater up early every day. The man's a hard working man. You got to just take that work ethic and put it into the ball python world, right? All ears, digging footers, and busting ass while finding out how to farm and do everything else. H&M is working on my 2-year plan. When I get there, I'll pick between my 5-year plans. There you go. Contingencies are important. Kingdom Pythons, 100% agree. No need for apologies. You made it when you were supposed to make it, Keys. Nice to see you. Worst ball python investment today is Scaleless. Outrageously priced and still never had a female on eggs. Check out the show I did last week. Last week's What's in Your Cup with Earl from Lone Star Reptiles. We touched on Scaleless and some of the stuff he has going on. Even if the price of a snake, Troy says, even if the price of a snake you bought drops by half, you can still make your investment back in one clutch. Always buy what you like. You're the one that has to open that tub every day. Absolutely. The number one worst question I get is, what should I buy to breed? My answer is breed what you think is the best looking morphs. I got that off of Ron from BBM when I used to watch his YouTube videos um, a couple years back, and I liked that where he said that if he didn't sell an animal, he was okay with it because he bred what he liked. So it was okay if he didn't sell it because it would become his animal. And I think that's a good philosophy to have. Living Oddities, who is a chef, says don't go into the restaurant business thinking you're going to get rich quick. And I think that is the same exact philosophy we need people to have that want to become ball python breeders. Have a plan, be realistic, learn what you're doing, and build up. I hate somebody that buys an animal, hasn't even grown the animal, and is already just it's okay to start thinking and researching, but is already thinking about breeding and you haven't even gotten an animal to adulthood successfully yet. Let's see here. I think this has been far from depressing. Great episode for anyone getting started. One thing that hasn't been mentioned is how much work it is to put in years worth of work to see great results. I agree. And that's what we have to look at, right? You're cleaning tubs, you're feeding animals, you're either breeding the food or finding the resource to feed your animals, you're researching combos, you're listening to shows like this driving you crazy. It's a lot of work, and I think that's the takeaway. If you're not willing to do the work, don't be expecting the reward. That's all. That's it. And if you were on the fence and you thought that it was as simple as taking one snake and putting it in a tub with another, don't do it. Don't do it. Be a happy pet owner. It's okay. Ball pythons are beautiful. They're great animals. One ball python is so easy to maintain. Okay, you feed it once, twice once every week or every 2 weeks. You clean it once or twice a month. You make sure the water bowl is clean and full. It never barks. It won't bark. It might fart. That's a little scary experience when a ball python farts. But that's pretty much the only thing that you have to worry about. It has changed my life. Now, instead of spending all my money on drugs, I spend all my money on snakes. And that is a reality. That is definitely a reality to many. Many have shared that, how getting into the whole ball python world. And that's what I mean. You have a different reason for being in it, whether it's gaining that responsibility, right? It's a great pet to teach your kids responsibility because you don't have to worry about them walking the dog 3 times a day. You don't have to worry about them feeding the dog every single day, but yet they learn, and they learn that to care for something while something else has a dependency on them with room to fail, right? Because they don't feed the animal on Saturday. It's all right if you feed it on Sunday, right? So I think that there's so many benefits. So Polk County also says that this has changed my life, especially from all the great people I've met and become friends with. I agree with you 100%. Again, that goes to the magnificence and magnitude of our diverse community. Speaking the truth, Brian, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Thank you for that. Troy says, Polk County, I could not agree with you more. Most of my best friends are breeders I have met in the last 5 years, thanks to ball pythons. What's up, Shane? Small Town Exotics in the house. Still got to get you on the show. Okay, so pipeline clarified. It's about the snake reptile lifestyle in general. Like I said, it was a good question. If not now, then when? We're talking facts up in here. Forward motion. Gerald says, we were fortunate to know what not to buy to have a successful collection. and how to structure it to tailor it to our taste. I got to do some work. I agree. I know that you made lemonade out of a bad situation. So, guys, I challenge you. Send this to at least one new breeder, one new aspiring breeder. Okay. Um, we have a large, diverse, vast community, and it's okay for us to have pet owners in it. It's okay for us to have keepers in it. Everybody doesn't have to be a breeder. But if they are going to be a breeder, let this be like a test. Can you handle all of these things? Are you ready to fail? Can you wait 3 years before making $1? Let's just make our community better with all that's going on. From, also part of our community, we have the advocates like USARC. Well, we also have the haters, right? Like PETA and others that don't want us to have these animals and legislation, etc. So our community is large, it's vast. Let's continue to improve it. And the best way for us to improve this community is for you to be a better person. If each one of us aspired to be even just a little bit better every day, our community would be unstoppable. Got unstoppable. Guys, crush your goals. Check them out. Happy hump day.